And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country.
Influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III.
Get him out of here! If you end up watching this video to the end and you like the video, consider liking the video and subbing.
No. No.
Now, where is my money?
Boy, oh boy, the memes around the Zelenskyy meeting to the White House the other day are on point. Chef's kiss. I love them. I have literally laughed out loud looking at some of these memes. The memesters out there, these guys that make these, they're brilliant. So I'm sure that you've seen Zelenskyy visited the White House. He's supposed to sign a mineral deal. And apparently he thought that he was going to alter the terms of the deal at the last minute here and make like extra demands of Trump. And well, it just didn't go his way. And it was kind of great. It was kind of epic. It's like the kind of stuff that you just don't see. Like, we don't see this. This is what we want to see out of our politicians. Actually, like, not being pushed around and not just, going the easy path, but actually fighting for us and trying to, first off, bring world peace, that, stop the dying, that's always a positive. But, ultimately, our leaders are supposed to be in our corner and fighting for us in the best interest of us, not everybody else and their borders. So I'm sure you've already seen it because, well, it's mainstream. It's everywhere. It's all anybody's talking about since the fake Epstein files never dropped and probably never will. Plan on making a video about that. Pam Bondi's really let us down on that. Just fucking, I don't know. Like, I'm losing faith on that. But that's for another video. What we're talking about now is this little chode that showed up at the White House in his pajamas and decided to try to make demands of apparently the two wrong guys. He hasn't gotten the memo that things are changing. And it was glorious. I've watched this like a dozen times just because it brings me such happiness. And with that, I'm just going to jump into the video.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied our big parts of Ukraine, parts of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014. So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact
2015.
2014.
2014.
Well, 2014.
Yeah. So
I was not here.
Yeah, but
exactly right.
Yes, but
Look at Trump's body language. He's not trying to hear any of this. He's trying to work out a peace deal that ends this conflict and doesn't pull us further into it. And this little, tutor shows up and he's just Trump. Oh God, I love him.
During 2014 till 2022, the situation the same. The people have been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, And we signed with him, me, like and you.
Just as I don't want to interrupt this too many times, but just as a quick note, in 2014, the Ukraine held an election. We overthrew their democratically elected government and put in our own puppet state because the government they elected was very friendly towards Moscow. In 2015, I believe, it is when Russia took Crimea. I think they're just trying to secure a naval port. And that was obviously in direct reaction to the CIA's color revolution in the Ukraine. We were pushing, and all this was to push our drive. We're always trying to drive the NATO eastwards, which we were never supposed to move it 1 inch or 1 foot or whatever the deal was towards Russia. But we've broken that promise many times and added many countries to NATO, closing in on Russia's border. Ukraine shares a direct border with Russia, and that's their red line. They are not going to allow it to join NATO. They're not going to allow it to arm up. And it's the same as Russia came over here and did the same thing in Canada or Mexico or Puerto Rico or any country that shares a very close border to us. We wouldn't allow it. And to act like Russia's just acted as this insane aggressor in the whole scenario it isn't true. We've constantly been needling and pushing them, I think there was a thought process that they would never, that they were all talk and that there was no red line and we could keep stepping over it. And finally we met the one red line. They weren't going to let us move directly up to their border. So
President, in 2019,
that context might help.
The deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel. We signed ceasefire. All of them told me that he will never go. We signed with him gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you are
Mr.
not
President,
strong...
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the...
And right here, I'm going to actually put in a couple clips of what is purported to be that. So that'll be right here. All right, so here it is. Look at it. Sick like dozens of men from Ukraine were tricked into thinking they were getting an escape route out of the Ukraine from Zelensky's Gestapo, only to find out they have been captured and now conscripted for the front lines of the war. Right there. Let's go ahead and turn the sound on some of these. Oh, let's watch this one. Here we go. We got this where some people are getting kidnapped off the streets. He has his dog with him. If we fast forward a little bit, you'll see they drag him over. The dog is trying to help him, doesn't understand what's going on. He's screaming. And you'll soon see, let's go ahead and fast forward, as they just drive off, and look at the dog just sitting there, the guy's dog. Gonna chase after the van. His owner's going off to die in a ridiculous conflict. Here's another one. Go ahead, they're chasing him down, they're gonna grab him. Well, drag him off. Let's go ahead down here. It says a desperate victim fleeing dictator Zelensky's abduction squad pleads with a passerby to help him. They don't, and the NATO and EU funded kidnappers take another unwilling Ukrainian away to die. This is what happens to your kids, husbands, fathers, and NATO gets its fighter war. They're just going to drag him straight out of the vehicle. Let's go ahead and fast forward it. There you go. Another one off to the front lines. Here we go. I don't know if that is copyrighted music, so we aren't going to play that. Pushed him down off his bike. Gonna snatch him up. Bunch of men. Why these men aren't fighting, who knows? You know, I guess they're favorites. There's another one of the same.
Снимайте, вызывайте полицию. Вызываем.
More Ukrainians are kidnapped.
Твари.
More Ukrainians are kidnapped. Let's see. I mean, it just goes on and on. I can't pronounce this Ukrainian name, but Chernivtsi, Western Ukraine. 2 friends in their late 50s were abducted by the dictator Zelensky's thugs. They will now be dispatched to the front and probably never return. This is the value for money the Americans and British talk about. Remember Lindsey Graham saying that you're the best ally we've ever had because not one American's died? Well, no, but we've thrown all these Ukrainians who were just living their life right into the meat grinder, you know, so that's great. In Ukraine, the director Zelensky's manhunters have taken to shooting at the pre-deceased if they decide to not to die for NATO. Fortunately for this Ukrainian, this kidnapper was as bad a shot as he was a runner. So they're shooting at this man. Hold on. Wow. Crazy. Here we go. Grabs a guy on the street, and instantly Zelensky's military mobilization jackals arrive to haul him into their death van. So there's another one gone. Pause that. I don't know if that's copyright music. There's a guy on a bike. I mean, it just goes on and on. They're just snatching men off the streets. So with that, I'm going to get back to the video.
President for trying to bring it into this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a prop.
Right there, they were able to enhance the audio, and he said suka, which apparently in the Ukrainian language means bitch. So he basically called him a female dog.
Propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military?
We have problems.
And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
And right there, I've watched this enough time. Right there, Trump went from just being, I think, annoyed and he was going to let him and JD go back and forth. But right there, I think the implied threat hit and Trump was like, yeah, I'm done with this. And from that moment forward, it's over. The deal's over. And shortly, he's going to get booted from the White House.
God bless.
You
God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that. Remember this.
I'm not
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influenced.
We're going to.
It's like a child. Remember, they were trying to tell us that this man, this thing, right here, I'm going to put another clip in. But they're trying to tell us that this little runt, this little Ukrainian gnome is a great world leader. He's a petulant child with some say a drug habit.
Feel very good and very
You
strong.
will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about
From
it.
the very beginning of the war.
You're not
Mr.
in a
Brown,
good position.
I
You don't
was
have
in
the cards right now. With us, you start having
not playing
cards. But
cards.
right now, you
I'm
don't.
very
You're playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're gambling
I'm the
with the
president
lives
in
of
war.
millions of people.
You think-
You're gambling with World War
What do you-
III.
what do you
You're
think about?
gambling
What
with
do you
World
think
War
about?
III. And
You-
what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country.
I'm
That's
with
back
all
to you.
respect to your
Far
country.
more than a lot of people said
very
they
respect.
should have.
Have you said thank you once?
A lot of times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today.
have you said thank
Even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for
What-
the United
what
States
are
of
you
America
speaking about?
and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you
He's
can...
not speaking loudly. He's not
Yeah.
speaking loudly. You
He's such a condescending little prick. I think he's actually, he's a plant. To me, he's a Manchurian candidate. And he's actually bought into the lies told. I remember Time gave him Man of the Year, but he's bought into his own hype. And ultimately, now that there are actual serious men back in control, anti-globalist, that delusion is his destruction.
Your country is
Can I-
in big
can-
trouble.
can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No.
Can
You've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not
I
winning.
know.
You're not winning this. You have a damn
We-
good chance of
we are
coming out
staying.
okay because
He almost said, I know, when he said, you're not winning this. He almost said, I know, but he caught himself.
of
Mr.
us.
President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this
We
cabinet.
gave you, through
I
this
said
stupid
thank you.
president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment,
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about
if you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
you invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak.
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3
okay?
days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days, this is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I tell you.
Just say thank you.
I said a lot of times thank you to American people.
Accept that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather.
What a nasty little fucking troll. What a fucking utter POS. Look at that attitude. We have given this dude hundreds of billions of dollars. He would have happily drug us into a nuclear conflict. And there are rumors that this man has squirreled away over $1 billion.
Rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know.
Let's not forget that this guy is a failed comedian. He was playing a piano with his dick. And now we're supposed to take him seriously as a great world leader. All he has done is led like 1 million Ukrainians to their death. He sold half of the farmland in the Ukraine to BlackRock. Now he's going to give away, apparently, a vast sum of the mineral rights, the rare earth mineral rights, away to America. There's like 15 million displaced Ukrainians. His entire nation is gutted. He had a peace deal shortly after the beginning of the war. Remember when we were saying that the Ukraine is going to become part of NATO, which actually was the instigation for all this? And that Biden said that maybe a small invasion wouldn't be so bad. And shortly after that, Russia did what they did. Then peace terms were offered. There was a peace deal actually brokered. And it was very favorable for the Ukraine considering their position. And was it Boris Johnson from England was ordered to fly in and crush that deal? And now we're, 3 years later, 1 million dead Ukrainians. like what, maybe a third of their nation, a quarter of their nation has been taken. Their economy is destroyed. We've dumped hundreds of billions of dollars in. Europe's put like $100 billion in. They've led us to the brink of World War III, which is actually what they wanted. They wanted a massive conflict, I believe. They, as in the globalist. And all because in 2014, we overthrew their duly elected government and turned the Ukraine kind of into our little candy land. Well, we didn't, but the deep state, the corporations, the intel agencies turned the Ukraine into like this little candy land, money laundering, deep state operation where we flooded it with biolabs and it turned into a money laundering operation. And here we are. Now we're at the end of it. And I don't think that Zelenskyy, I think Zelensky's right at the end of he's run out of runway. That's what I'm trying to say. He's run out of runway, and this isn't going to end well for him. We've all seen what happens when a brutalized people finally get a hold of the brutalizer. And I think that that's what we're going to see pretty soon.
Know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on here. I think it's very important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the cards.
Thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying.
You're
running low on soldiers. Listen,
please,
you're running
Mr.
low
President.
on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing.
Mr.
And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go, and I wanted this. Look. If you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
With guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than
You get nothing. You can't demand military guarantees from us. You get no guarantees. The guarantees was that you were going to give us an interest in your country, access to your rare earth minerals. Therefore, now we have a large economic interest in your nation. That was your guarantee, and you imploded it.
Ask our people about ceasefire. What they think.
That wasn't
it doesn't
with
matter
me.
For you what,
that
what
wasn't with me. That was with a guy named Biden, who was not a smart person. That was with Obama.
It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
And shortly after that, it was he was gonzo. They booted his ass out. In fact, I think I got some footage of it right here.
1, 2, 3.
And with that, it's going to be a wrap. If you enjoyed the content, consider subscribing, liking the video, and I will see you next time. Safe travels.